Hello everyone, welcome to the Narcissism Decoder. I'm Dr. Anthony Mazzella. On this channel, we go beyond labels and symptoms to explore the inner, often unconscious, emotional world behind narcissistic and related personality patterns. In these short clips from the full podcast, you'll get a clear, compassionate, psychodynamic insight into behavior. Here's a short clip from the podcast that highlights what this looks like in real life. So, what is this deeper story and the psychodynamic meaning of secrets? This isn't just about information he withheld. It's about the meaning of what the information meant to him inside of his psyche. For a narcissistically oriented personality, the teenage arrest or the past misdeed doesn't just represent a mistake. It carries the potential for total exposure, humiliation, and collapse. It represents failure, weakness, defectiveness, shame. Rather than metabolizing the shame, the psyche walls it off. Perhaps a psychic territory develops, a sort of secret chamber of the self. Inside that chamber lives this belief. Inside that chamber lives the belief, and I'm quoting, if anyone really knew this about me, they would see that I'm unworthy. Or, love depends on maintaining the illusion I am intact, pure, clean, and respectable. So, when he hides the arrest from his fiancée, it's not primarily about deception or manipulation. And I say primarily, I'm emphasizing that word because there is some deception, of course, and manipulation, but it's not mainly about that. It's about protecting the fragile, grandiose self-structure. That's the main structure, you might recall, that holds the narcissist together. The part of him that must be seen as competent, admirable, put together. The part that cannot tolerate being viewed as flawed in any way. The secret protects him from what we call in my field annihilation anxiety. Annihilation anxiety is what? The terror of the self, his identity, that he fears that it will crumble if he's exposed, if the truth is exposed. Yet, ironically, the secret also keeps him from true intimacy. His partner is relating to a partly curated version of him. So yes, what I'm suggesting is you can't have both true intimacy while also presenting a false self. That's the polished side of yourself. To return to our prior example, you fail the background check, and now the past returns, or through an interview, or through a denial, but somehow, or through somebody questioning you, perhaps a loved one, the past begins to return. Reality punctures the entire defensive structure. That's the grandiose structure, the false self, and suddenly you're in a crisis. Who am I if this story becomes known? This is the internal drama of the narcissistic self. Secrets hold the defensive structure together, protecting the ego from contact with shame, vulnerability, or guilt. And when I say guilt, I mean persecutory guilt. And I'll say more about that in the next video clip. That's the internal voice that really works you over. But they also form walls around the true self, the injured or frightened, the younger part who felt humiliated or exposed, that they did something so wrong, something so bad. Rather than being allowed expression, that part is sealed away and it's exiled. So, when you're forced then to tell the truth, in this example, when his fiancée learns the truth, she's not simply reacting to the content of the secret, the past misdeed, and in this example, the teenage arrest. She's reacting to the structure of concealment. The real injury is relational. The real injury is not about the content, not always. It's more likely about what's been hidden. And the real injury is about, why didn't you tell me the truth? Or did you not trust me enough to tell me the truth? Or why didn't you let me know the real you? Is this entire relationship a lie? Is it all based on a lie? And here's the psychodynamic irony. The very thing that the narcissistically organized psyche fears most, rejection or loss of love, now becomes more likely because of the secret and the distance it created. It's not the secret, but the way it walled off a part of yourself. And that's the tragedy of secrecy and narcissism. So, unlike what you often hear in social media, I hope you're beginning to notice that I'm not looking at secrets as just a power move. Yes, secrecy can absolutely create power, control, and asymmetry in the relationship. But here, I'm thinking about secrets as an emotional fortress built around regions of the self that feel too dangerous, too shameful, or too needy to expose. In working with these patients, what we look at are the secrets. When we see them from a psychodynamic lens, we begin to see something of real value. We see why the secret had to exist in the first place. Okay, I hope you're with me so far, because we have to pause here. If this is resonating, stay with me, because in the next video, we're going to continue this discussion and deepen it by thinking more comprehensively about lying and secrecy. We're going to look at that disavowed part of the self, the fragile psychic equilibrium, and the internal persecutor that I mentioned earlier, that persecutory voice that works you over, and how all this is carried alone in the form of a secret. We'll explore that through a lived experience of why and how secrecy becomes a way of life organized around protecting a grandiose self-structure from collapse. And what happens when those hidden parts are finally brought into a relationship. There's still so much more to explore about this topic and related dynamics. If you're finding this discussion helpful and you want to learn more about the various facets of narcissism and related personality organizations, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video clip. If you want to do an even deeper dive, check out my podcast. I go into far more detail there. Okay, until next time, take care of yourself. Bye for now.